Hey, you guys. All right. I am going to take a little packing break. And I want you to lean in and I want to talk to you about something that might just be the catalyst that shifts everything for you. Okay. Because what happens when we are these spiritual beings with an intellect living in a meat stick, right? We live in a physical body, okay? What we forget as we go on through life, kids are really in tune with this, okay? Kids are like super in tune with this. Adults, we're too busy adulting. We're too busy working to pay the bills. We're too busy like doing all the things with our little check off list, with our busyness. Okay. And then when things aren't going our way, we wonder why. We wonder what's up. Okay. And what I can tell you and what kids are really good at is entering into the spirit of it. Okay. So they recognize because they're not like, they haven't lived in their meat stick for very long. Right. So they get it. And they might not call it this because they have young minds. But if you have kids like mine, like I've always said, particularly my oldest daughter is like the oldest soul ever. Like from the moment she was, I feel like even when she was first born, she would look at me and I would just look into her eyes and be like, man, like you're old. You're so old. Like physically, you're only like, I don't know, a couple months, but you're old. You just know it, right? But when kids and like watch kids, like even if you don't have any, pay attention. Maybe it's a niece, a nephew, a neighbor, whoever, okay? Pay attention to them because they don't hold back. They don't care what people think. They are just giving her, okay? And I would say like my kids now are 8 and 10 and they're just getting to the age now where they're unless I remind them not to care what other people think, they're like starting to be persuaded, okay? Which is like the worst thing ever. Stop that. Okay, what I want you to think about is what if I entered into the spirit of it every time I did something? Example, what if when I was contacting people for my business, I entered into the spirit of it? What does that look like? Regular going about contacting people for your business, you're like reaching out, you're making your calls, you're doing whatever. And you're just going through the list. You're just going through the motions and you check it off your list. You're like, woohoo, checked off my list. Okay. Entering into the spirit looks like before you do anything, you check your energy. You ask yourself, am I on purpose with this? Am I doing it while I'm in a high vibration? Or am I just doing it to check it off my list because that's what I got to do? Because that's what makes me successful is my list checking. Okay. What is your energy like when you're doing something? Okay. Because I can promise you, people don't necessarily read what you wrote to them or said on your voicemail, but they will feel your energy before anything. We have examples of being able to feel each other's energy all the time. Okay. Now there's this brilliant book. It's packed away somewhere. I'm keeping it with me and like making sure it comes to Barbados with me. But it is called the Collected Works of Thomas Troward or Troward. So he was a brilliant, absolutely brilliant author back in the early 1900s, and he actually wrote a piece called "Entering into the Spirit of It." Now, I want to read you just a small blip of it, and you can even get on the old Google machine and Google it. I'm sure you can find a PDF somewhere as well. But I want to read you a few pieces of it. Okay, so it starts off like this. Entering into the spirit of it. What a common expression. And yet how much it really means, how absolutely everything. Okay, like it is everything to be in the spirit of it, to get out of the mechanics of like paying attention to what our meat stick does and like getting into the spirit of it. Okay, remembering that you are more spirit than body. Just that piece alone, write that down. I am more spirit than body. What does that mean? Okay, it is absolutely everything. We enter into the spirit of an undertaking, into the spirit of a movement, into the spirit of an author, even into the spirit of a game. And it makes all the difference, both to us and to that into which we enter. A game without any spirit is a poor affair. An association in which there is no spirit will fall to pieces. And a spiritless undertaking is sure to be a failure. On the other hand, the book, which is meaningless to the unsympathizing reader, is full of life and suggestion to the one who enters into the spirit of the writer. Have you ever read a book where you are just like all in, you think it's the most brilliant piece of literature you've ever experienced, and you start telling someone about it and they're like, yeah, I don't get it. Even this, you might be like, oh, Thomas Troward, I'll look it up. Okay. If you don't actually read the words that he's writing, it's going to be like, phew. However, this here can change your life. Like I have a version of like, I have a typed up copy on my computer because I read it constantly. Because me up until yesterday, Linda, when she was controlling my life, even though she still is, she's very mechanical. All the checklists, doing things in all the right order, everything had to be perfect or appear perfect before it was submitted or completed. Okay. But I wasn't in the spirit of it. Okay. So you can use the example of the books, right? The man who enters into the spirit of the music and finds a spring of refreshment in the same fine recital, which is entirely missed by a cold critic who comes only to judge according to a standard or a rigid rule. Okay. Same thing. There's concerts that my husband and I have gone to together where I'm like all in or he's all in and like admiring all of the things about it. And the other one's like, I don't get it. Right. But, and you can see the people that don't get it. Okay. But are you in the spirit of it? Are you getting what I'm saying? Like books, music, these are common things. Okay. And so it is in the case of how you think of it. If we do not enter into the spirit of a thing, it has no invigorating effect upon us, and we regard it as dull, insipid, and worthless. This is our everyday experience, and these are the words in which we express it. And the words are well chosen. They show our intuitive recognition of the spirit as the fundamental reality in everything, however small or however great. Let us be right as the spirit of a thing, and everything else will successfully follow. If you are looking for that slight edge, excellent book, by the way. That's an excellent book, Slight Edge. Tony Robbins calls it the 2 millimeter shift. Okay. If you're looking to do something different with your life and you're like, I don't even know where to start, you think it has to be something astronomical. It doesn't. Okay. It could be just this simple shift. But this is a shift that makes the biggest difference. If you check yourself and really say, like, before I read this book, before I listen to this music, before I send this message, before I call this person, before I go to this gathering, am I in the spirit or am I distracted? Am I mechanical? Okay, remember everything, the law of polarity says everything has an opposite. The opposite of spirit is the mechanical. Okay, where we are paying attention to what happens outside of us. But the truth is that everything that happens outside is just a reflection of what happens inside. So if you really want to make a shift, doesn't it make sense to always make sure that you're entering into the spirit of it? Kind of makes sense, right? Even my logical brain is going, yeah, that would make sense. If I am a spirit with an intellect living in a physical body, who am I to deny the fact that I'm a spiritual being? Who am I to ignore that? Because every time that we don't enter into the spirit of it, every time we just go about our day, get up, go to work, get the kids to school. Could you imagine how much, even if you're not in your dream job, could you imagine how much better, richer, more fulfilling it would be if you entered into the spirit of it? Do you imagine? Looking to up level, enter into the spirit of it. By entering into the spirit of anything, we establish a mutual vivifying action and reaction between it and ourselves. Okay? Everything is cause and effect. Every action has an equal or opposite reaction. Okay? When you enter into the spirit of it, go into any activity, any interaction with another human being, which is also that other human is more spirit than body as well. Okay? You will get what you put out. It's called the boomerang effect. Okay, so we think that we're playing frisbee, like, here, go catch. It's not. It's a boomerang. And what does a boomerang do? You toss it out and it comes back to you. Guaranteed. It's not a matter of if it comes back to you, it's just a matter of when. Some people call it karma, whatever you want to call it. Okay, either way, everything that you do, everything that you say, even if you don't say anything, you can feel somebody's energy. You can feel if you walk into a room and two people have been fighting. You can feel the tension. We have all these catchy sayings. I could cut the tension with a knife. The elephant in the room. Like, we have all these sayings, and yet we don't acknowledge that we are more spirit than body. Why would we have those sayings if we're like not supposed to acknowledge the fact, this fact? Okay, so every time you have an opportunity to show up, enter into the spirit of it, and that boomerang that you're tossing will collect all the vibrational match things that you sent out. You send out crap energy, you're going to get crap back. And then you go, oh, why does this always keep happening to me? What do you think? Why do you think? Doesn't it make sense that if you were to enter into the spirit of an interaction and only put out good, only leave people with the impression of increase, only like put out abundance, doesn't it make sense that you would then just get that back? And some people will say, well, Delyn, I'm a very positive person and I only put out good. And yet my bank account doesn't reflect it, or my business doesn't reflect it, or my relationships don't reflect it, or my health doesn't reflect it. But that's where I can tell you that there's something deep in your subconscious mind that is kinking that hose. Okay, picture a hose. Okay, and it's just got water flying out of it, right? When you turn it on. If you go up to that hose and kink it, you stop it. So picture that you have a hose for money, for health, for relationships, for your purpose. Okay? There's a difference in what you will get back in those things. If you are not entering into the spirit of your health is a really good example. Entering into the spirit of like working out. So anybody that's ever worked out knows that if you're not working out with intention, you're going to get different results than when someone goes in and works out with intention. Even when you're eating, okay? The state that you are in when you consume, because food is just energy as well, right? When you consume that food and you chew it up and you swallow, that state is going down into your system with you. So if you are eating and you feel shame, just picture yourself just swallowing a big bowl of shame, big bowl of guilt, a big bowl of sadness. Whereas what would it look like to work through all of that, enter into the spirit of it, watch your health shift. You'll start moving your body differently. You'll start eating different foods and you'll start like showing up and being in a high vibration when you're nourishing your body. And this can be easy. You're like, I don't know, it sounds hard. It's not hard. Okay, and therefore, the more fully we enter into the spirit of all with which we are concerned, the more thoroughly do we become alive. If you're bored with your life, with your work, you're not sure your purpose, you're like sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, you want to feel more alive, enter into the spirit of it, of everything. And he says, it may seem a truism, but the great secret of life is that it's livingness, and it is just more of this quality of livingness that we want to get a hold of. It is that good thing of which we can never have too much. That feeling of feeling alive with feeling just true joy, you can never have too much of that. Ever. Livingness, this higher expression of ourselves, this is what everybody is seeking. What does that look like for you? So my challenge for you this week is I want you to start paying attention and even just start with one thing that you know you do every day. Maybe it's eating. Maybe it's moving your body. Maybe it's an interaction at work. But how can you enter into the spirit of that thing? Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's your relationship with your kids. How can you turn it from mechanical to a spiritual interaction? Either way, you're going to have a spiritual interaction. Either way, your energy will be felt. You decide what that's going to look like. You get to decide. But I'm going to link up. I'll get a hold of another version of this and I will link it up for you guys so that you can read it. And don't just read it, study it. And ask yourself really good questions. How can I be more of this? Deal? And if you want to get on purpose, join me in my next Power of Purpose retreat. I have one coming up. June 30th is the next one, where we nail down what is your purpose, what is your vision, what are your goals. Want to study more, want to do more of what we just did? Come join us in the High Vibe Society. We study together every single day. Every single day. Bare minimum, if you want to be just even put in the right direction, book a call. I want to hear all about it. Thank you guys for joining me today. if even just one of you goes out there and enters into the spirit of everything that you do, my day is my mission is complete. I love it. Have an amazing day, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello there on Facebook. Hello.